Welcome as we hurtle into the second week of the high school football season. This is the River Valley Sports Report. I'm Leland Barclay, and we are at the River Valley Democrat-Gazette offices in downtown Fort Smith. This report is sponsored by Atchley Air, and we certainly appreciate their support of this report and local high school sports, schools, and athletes. Rivalry week is complete, and week 0 is in the books. In the Battle of Rogers Avenue on Friday, Northside defeated Southside 42-24 in a most entertaining game to kick off the season in Fort Smith. A crowd of 4,357 saw the two teams combine for 141 plays and 1,005 yards of offense in a game that started late and finished even later. Northside's elaborate pregame hype video, strobe lights and all, led to a late entrance onto the field and a 7:42 kickoff. The game finished just before 11 o'clock. Decavion King ran for 228 yards and touchdowns of 75, 19, and 2 yards to power Northside to the 7th straight win in the Battle of Rogers Avenue. I know it's just the opening week of the season, but King's 75-yard touchdown run in the second quarter on Friday will be one of the best plays of the entire season. He also added a 90-yard run that set up a 2-yard touchdown run by quarterback Poom Savoy in the second half. Be sure to stay tuned until the end of the report for the video of that 75-yard run as well as others from the game. In all, Northside had 523 yards of offense with 303 yards on the ground, and Savoy throwing for 220 yards in a rare display of 300 yards rushing and 200 yards passing by a team. Not to be outdone, Southside's offense started the season where it left off last season with 482 yards on 79 plays. Junior quarterback George Harrell threw for 346 yards and 3 touchdowns, all to Grayson York of 33, 45, and 4 yards. Isaac Gregory ran for 84 yards and had 62 receiving yards. Oh, there's another penalty flag from Mayo Thompson Stadium. And speaking of penalties, the game featured 20 penalties for 227 yards that included everything from unnecessary roughness to late hits to unsportsmanlike conduct and even hurdling twice by Decavion King. And actually, hurdling is a penalty as long as a player is in position to make a tackle and not on the ground. In Ozark, Walter Woody covered the 90th edition of the rivalry between the Hillbillies and Clarksville. As Walter pointed out in his story in Saturday's River Valley Democrat-Gazette, Ozark turned 3 Clarksville turnovers into touchdowns in a 49-28 win. All 3 1,000-yard rushers from a year ago, Clarksville running back Arthur Alvarez and Ozark quarterback Landon Wright and running back Eli Massingale, produced big games to start this season. Alvarez ran for 133 yards and 3 touchdowns, while Wright ran for 134 yards and a touchdown and threw for 113 yards and 2 scores. And Massingale also ran for 134 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's going to take us to halftime of the River Valley Sports Report. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsor, Atchley Air, with another Gimme 5.
The Martins came over, we were having spaghetti when we suddenly noticed that we started getting sweaty as the temperature approached 90 degrees. My buddy said, man, you gotta call AtchleyAir.com. When your air conditioner breaks, they're the one you want. AtchleyAir.com. They're fast and they're good and they got it going on. The technician showed up the very same day. Got it fixed right and fast, he was on his way. When your air conditioner breaks, you know who to call. There's only one choice, AtchleyAir.com.
Gimme 5. These are the top 5 performances of the past week in the River Valley. Number 1, of course, we start with the first River Valley Player of the Week this season as Alma senior quarterback Joe Trusty led the Airedales to a 27-7 win over Van Buren. Trusty ran for 113 yards and passed for 136 as Alma snapped a 4-year losing streak to the Pointers. Number 2, the Boonville Bearcats loaded the bus, which they are accustomed to, and traveled to Pine Bluff to open the season with a 36-6 Mercy Rule win over Dollarway. The Bearcats had just 23 offensive plays in the game, all runs, but amassed 368 yards. Trace Hall ran for 144 yards and 3 touchdowns on just 5 carries, and Dax Goff had 109 yards and a score on only 7 totes. Number 3, the Lamar Warriors opened the season with a 35-12 win over Huntsville. Damian Hendricks ran for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Jarrett Dalton added 165 yards and 3 scores. Lamar had 432 rushing yards on 60 carries. Number 4, the Mansfield Tigers successfully opened the season with a 41-6 win at Magazine. Mansfield scored on 5 of 6 first-half possessions and had the Mercy Rule in place to start the third quarter with a 35-0 lead. Quarterback Cole Kendall, who moved from Greenwood to Mansfield in July, threw for 143 yards and a touchdown. Fisher Wilsey ran for 2 scores, and Tyler Woolbright ran for 1. Number 5, the Hackett Lady Hornets are already 9-0 on the young volleyball season. Coach Bridget Freeman's Lady Hornets have not lost a single set all season and are a combined 22-0. Now, there was someone else who was deserving of a mention in this week's Gimme 5, but to quantify his contribution to the River Valley community in just a weekly performance would be doing him a huge disservice. Jerry Glidewell recently retired as the director of the Fort Smith Boys and Girls Club after 43 years. All of you who know Jerry, which is most of us in and around Fort Smith, know he was a tireless worker and a great diplomat for the community who loved kids. To hear what Jerry had to say about his 43 years at the Fort Smith Boys and Girls Club, click the link in the description below and be sure to pick up a copy of Sunday's River Valley Democrat-Gazette for a story on his retirement and his illustrious career at the Fort Smith Boys and Girls Club. Check out every day of the Northwest Arkansas and River Valley Democrat-Gazette, where you will get the most extensive high school sports coverage in the state. Friday night, I'll be in Greenwood, where the Bulldogs host Northside. Walter Woody will be at Southside, where the Mavericks host Van Buren. And Harold McIlvain will be in Boonville, where the Bearcats host the rival Ozark Hillbillies. You can subscribe online at nwaonline.com and click the subscribe button, or by calling our customer service line at 479-684-5509. Be sure to follow the new River Valley Democrat-Gazette Twitter account, as well as mine, Walter's, and Harold's. You can also view and purchase photos from our award-winning Arkansas Democrat-Gazette photographers that can be seen and purchased on our website, nwaonline.com/photo. That's going to wrap up this week's River Valley Sports Report. We'll leave you with videos of Friday's Battle of Rogers Avenue. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more updates like this. God bless you, and we will see you next week.